and welcome to another edition of Bob's Screencasts. What we're going to do today is we are going to talk about making decisions. If something happens, then we need to do something, otherwise we don't. So let's get into RURPLE. Here, RURPLE is coming up. And the first thing that I need to do with RURPLE is make it big enough. Let's bring up our summary of instructions, and we will go to here to code and learn. The first thing that I'm going to do is let's put in some comments. So this one I'm going to call Minesweeper. And what Minesweeper is going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of beepers out in this field, and then we are going to program RURPLE to go through the field and pick up all the mines. Luckily, RURPLE isn't big enough to set off the mines like a human would be. So what we want him to do is go through the whole area and pick up all of the mines. We are going to be using turn right. Whoops, we've got an extra thing there. Turn right. How do we turn right in the RURPLE world? We do turn left 3 times. So let's just say for I in range 3. That means do something 3 times. And what do we need to do? We need to turn left 3 times. So now that I have programmed that, we have that all done and we can just use it. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to program another one called advance. And advance is what we are going to use to move forward. So we are just right now just going to make it move. We're going to be adding to that as we get on top of mines. We're going to have to pick up the mines. But at first I just want to get the motion down. Stepwise refinement. Do something a little bit small and then just keep building on it. Notice how I am predicting in the future what I'm going to need to use to program this. This is called bottom-up programming. We start at the bottom and we work our way up the tree. We figure that we're going to be using turn right, so let's put it in. We are going to be using an advance command, so let's put it in. And then we can use those to build other things up the ladder here. So let's go here and let's do clear row. How do we clear a row? Well, we are going to advance. And how many times are we going to advance? For I in range. And we are here, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to advance 9 times. And then we are just going to use the advance command that I have done. And then we need a main program. And in that main program, I am going to say clear row to start with. We will add more instructions later. And then after that, we need to say main. And then we need to turn off. So the key here is we start small and we get bigger and bigger and bigger. So let's put in some mines. So let's just let's say we don't want the robot to have any. What we want to do is give him plenty of capacity to create some. But let's put in some mines here, like right here. I am right clicking. And then I'm going to hit 1, and then right here I'm going to put another one, right click 1, and another one here, right click 1. So there is our first row that we need to run. So let's see what happens when we do this. First of all, let's go ahead and save the world. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to save the world, and I'm going to call this Minesweeper. It looks like I have an extra space in there that I don't want. And let's go ahead and save it. So now whenever I reset, it brings back to this point. Let's see how things are working now. So I'm going to run the program, and it looks like we have some bad indentation here that I need to correct. It looks like this turnoff has some indentation we need to get rid of. So let's go ahead and run that again, and we are off and running. Looks like we are moving forward. Hopefully we will stop at the end where we need it to stop, and everything's cool except I didn't pick up any beepers. So what I need now is I need to pick up the beepers if I'm on one. So after I move, I need to detect if I have a beeper. So the statement that says if, that means that we are testing something, and what we are testing is, am I on a beeper? So right here, on beeper. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if on beeper. Then what do I need to do? I need to pick that beeper up. So how do I pick the beeper up? That is pick beeper. So I'll come down here and say pick underscore beeper. So what this if statement does is if this part right here is true, then I execute everything that's indented. And right now, there's just one command to pick the beeper up. So let's reset. Let's speed things up a little bit because I'd get bored. And let's see what happens. It looks like I have picked up all of those beepers. So let's reset. And now what we need to do is, right here we are clearing a row. What do we need to do after we clear a row? Well, first of all, we need to turn to the left. Then we need to advance. Notice how I'm using advance. If I use advance, then what's happening is it's checking to see if there is a beeper there. And then once we get him pointed that direction and we've moved up, we need him to turn left again. And then what he needs to do is he needs to clear another row. Okay, so let's put a couple more beepers in here. Let's put one here. Right-click one, and right-click one. And then let's go ahead and save this. Make sure that we've got the world here. We're going to save it under Minesweeper. So here is Minesweeper. I'm going to save it. Now let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. Picks those up, and we've got it. Okay, now what he needs to do is he needs to point up, so that would be a turn right. Then we need him to advance. And then we need him to turn to the left. And then we need him to clear another row. So let's reset. And let's put in a couple of more things for him to pick up. So we're going to put a mine there, and we're going to put a mine right here. And let's see what happens. First of all, we're going to save. Going to call it Minesweeper. Boy, I'm spelling it funny today. Minesweeper. And save. And now let's run it and see what he does. Picks those up, and whoops, we've done something wrong. So where did we hit? We are facing the wrong direction, and we moved and we turned right into the wall. So right now, let's see, we're pointing forward, and then we advanced, and then we turned to the left. Really what we needed to do was turn to the right. Notice how easy it was to spot that little problem, because I just do a little bit of coding at a time and then check to make sure that it's working. And we've got that. Now what we're going to do is we need to, after we finish that row, what we need to do is we need to turn to the left. Then we need to advance and turn to the left. And then we need to clear the row. So let's go ahead and reset. Let's put in a couple more beepers here. And see what happens. Let's save. And go for it. Picks those up, works those up, works those up, and it looks like what's happening here is, notice here how it says turn left, advance, turn left, clear the row. Right here we have turn left, advance, turn left, and clear the row. So it looks like what we have here is we have a repeating pattern. So we can put that inside a loop and say for I in range. How many times are we going to do it? We are going to do this clear 2 rows. How many times? We're going to do once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. So let's put range 5. And then we are going to do these commands here, the clear rows right here. First, we're going to clear the row. And okay, so that little section right there we want to indent, and this is the duplicate code that we can get rid of now since we're repeating it. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what happens here. Let's reset this, and let's put a couple more beepers for it to find. Let's put one here. We'll put one here. We'll put one right on the end to make sure the ends are working. Let's put one right here to make sure that's working. And let's put one right up here to make sure that's working. Alright, so let's save this. And we're going to call it Minesweeper. And we will save. And we've got the speed turned up a little bit, so let's go ahead and see what happens when we repeat that pattern 5 times. Whoops, we've done something wrong. And it looks like what we've done is we ran into the wall there. So now what we need to do is figure out what caused that. So we're going to turn right, advance, turn right, and clear row. And then we've got a clear row here and a clear row here. So I've done the clear row twice. So what we really need to do is get rid of one of the clear rows. So let's get rid of this clear row and see if this works any better. Okay, it looks like what has happened is it's tried to turn right and go up and get ready for the next row, and we can't have that happening. So what we need to do is have a special case here after things get done. What we need to do is just do this 4 times. Then after the 4th time, then we need to program manually. So let's go ahead and make sure that we've got it working 4 times. So that should clear most of the beepers out of there, except for the last couple of rows. At that point, after we get done, what do we need to do? Well, after that, then what we need to do is we need to clear the row that we're on. That gets us to this point right here. And then what do we need to do? We need to turn to the left. And then we need to advance. And then we are pointing up, so let's turn to the left and clear the last row. So we'll reset, and we will go for it and see what happens. Let's going up, getting all of those, and stops. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to return the robot back down to the initial place and get rid of all of the beepers that he has. So right now he is facing to the west, and he needs to turn left to face down. So turn left. Okay, do we need to use the advanced command, or can we just move him? At this point, since we have all of the beepers, we really don't need to use the advanced command. So we can just for I in range. And how many sections do we need to move? We need to move 9. And we'll just move him. Okay, now let's reset and see if that little section works. Looks like we're picking up all those. Pick up the next line, getting clear up to the top. And we go down and turn himself off. What I really want to do is I want to get rid of all of those mines before I come down. So let's put all the mines right here on this very last square. So if I want to do that, I would want to put a beeper, and I don't know how many beepers I'm carrying. So what we need to do here, after here, is we need to use another form of an if statement called a while loop. So while, and I need to see if I'm carrying any beepers. And carries beepers is the command. So I'm going to say while, and then down here I'm going to say carries beepers, and we're going to indent. Let's see if I can make this easier for us to see here. So while I'm carrying a beeper, what do I want to do? I want to put down the beeper. So we'll say put underscore beeper. So what that command does, the while command runs over and over again as long as carries beepers is true. So as soon as we have no beepers, then it goes on with the program. Otherwise, it keeps looping through that. This while statement is like a loop with an if statement. So let's see what happens here. First of all, let's put in some comments. Right here, I'm going to say clear the field. And then down here, I am going to say clear the last 2 rows. And we'll put a comment right there. That tells the computer not to execute that statement. Those are just comments for the humans to read. And right here, before we do this, let's say that we are going to drop all the beepers. And then we are going to return home here. So let's say return home. So let's go ahead and let's reset here. And let's also save the program as well as the world, because I'm getting close to the end here. So I want to make sure things are saved. Going to call it Minesweeper. Notice how it is an RUR file instead of a WLD file. That means it's a RURPLE program file. Alright, so let's go for it and see what happens. Picks all those up. And it picked up 15 beepers and put them up there at the top. Everything worked great. So let's reset the world, and let's say the enemy really got sneaky with his bombers and put 5 mines right there. So if I were to save this now, and this is going to just be minesweeper.wld, I only want the world saved. And I run this. Watch what happens. It goes through, picks up all of the mines, except when it gets to the place with 5 mines. See, it picked up 1 and then stopped. And now we have a problem here with 4 mines. So how would we fix that? If we look here, notice how I have all of the mine picking up all in the same function here. So it says if on beeper, that executes that once. So if I change the if to while, so while I'm on a beeper, pick it up. In other words, if there's more than one, just keep picking them all up. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. So it picked all 5 up, puts them all down, and returns home. Picked up all 20 of them. Okay, so now what we need to do, just in case we need to save this for later use, let's go ahead and make sure that we have saved the program. So I'm going to save minesweeper.rur. And I've already saved the world, so if I need this again, I have a copy of it. Notice here how I now have things every time I change a thought that's like a sentence. I have put a comment in there so we understand what's going on. Up here, right here where we say define advanced, let's put in a comment just to clean this up, just to say advance and test for mines. And then clear row. It's a good idea at the front of each of the functions to tell me what that function is going to do. So right here under clear row, clear 1 row. And here under turn right, let's put in a comment that says turn right. Kind of redundant. It kind of says turn right, but just to make sure that we have things a little more, documented. See, at this point, right here's my main program. So I could put a comment that says main program. And then right down here where I've done this, here's the main program and what it does. So now, since I've changed things, let's go ahead and save that. So I'm going to click here under Minesweeper and save that. And that should conclude this little screencast to show you how to clear a minefield full of mines. Thanks for watching.